Islam's going to have real problems. Islam is not a striker by any stretch of the imagination. I think everyone would agree, but he's not JDM.
Oh, Islam looks like as well.
Della, yes.
Coach says 55%, Maddalena, 45 Islam. But I think Islam, we will see. Both good fighters.
Two elite fighters, no trash talk, only respect and power. Islam Makhachev faces his toughest challenge yet against Della Maddalena in a battle of strength, skill, and pure competition. Meanwhile, analysts have started reacting to Chael Sonnen's breakdown of Islam Makhachev versus Della Maddalena. Chael talked about Michael Chandler's view, saying Jack's striking and takedown defense could challenge Islam's wrestling. Chandler mentioned Jack hits harder than Dustin Poirier and might tag Islam early. He even gave Jack a slight edge, calling him a dangerous opponent for the lightweight champion.
All right, this is Michael Chandler talking. Gonna be the Jack Della Maddalena's great striking abilities and his takedown defense enough to stop the onslaught of wrestling that Islam's going to bring. I do think in a stand-up battle against Dustin Poirier, Poirier does hit hard because I've witnessed that and felt it firsthand. How'd we get to Poirier? Did I miss a line here? How'd we get to Poirier? At any rate, but there's no way he hits as hard as Jack. It's going to be interesting. I think Islam is going to get tagged a couple of times, and I think we're going to see if he goes to that wrestling quickly.
Chael then explained why Chandler's approach to the fight makes sense. He said, "It's straightforward. If Islam gets the fight to the ground, he wins. If it stays standing, Jack's power can make the difference." Chael added that history usually favors grapplers in striker versus grappler matchups, but modern MMA has evolved, making this fight much harder to predict than before.
But I think Jack is a monster. I give Jack the slight edge in this one. So Michael Chandler pick Jack. Did that surprise you? That's not where I thought that was going to go. Guys, sometimes when you're trying to beat somebody, you got to watch somebody else. And sometimes when you're trying to beat somebody, one of the greats, it can take about 5 other people to fight him for you to beat him.
After Chael Sonnen discussed how Jack's power and Islam's wrestling could shape the fight, Luke Thomas added his perspective on the striking and wrestling balance. He said that if Islam can keep the fight mostly standing, he has a strong chance of winning. While Islam is a skilled striker, Luke noted that Jack's speed, precision, and upper weight advantage make the fight much more challenging.
Back exposure and takedown defense and wrestling up, period. I mean, it just doesn't seem very difficult for me to think that if this fight is a striking contest predominantly, Islam's going to have real problems. Islam is not a striker by any stretch of the imagination. I think everyone would agree, but he's not JDM. And again, up a weight class too, not just in terms of pure ability, but how that leverages up a weight class. If he can make this a striking contest, then, you know, predominantly, not exclusively, of course, but predominantly, then I feel like it's his fight to lose, to be honest with you.
Luke then explained Islam's key risks on the ground. He said Islam must avoid getting taken down or exposing its back, because if he's taken down, he needs to get up quickly without giving up any submission openings. Luke emphasized that mixing striking with smart wrestling is critical. Any mistake on either front could make winning extremely difficult, highlighting the fine balance that will likely decide the fight.
But, you know, if he's constantly getting taken down, if he is being held down, if he is giving up back exposure, even then he might be able to find ways to win, but it makes the job radically more difficult. This is, if you're going to get first of all, don't get taken down. And if you're going to get taken down, don't create back exposure and wrestle up quickly without creating submission opportunities. Like, that is the name of the game, in addition to how you set that up with your striking. But that wrestling up, back exposure, takedowns He cannot have that be a significant part of this fight and I think win.
Thomas broke down Islam Makhachev's striking and wrestling challenges. He shifted focus to another key factor: weight and conditioning. Luke explained that finding the right balance between strength, speed, and stamina could be critical. Even small miscalculations in weight management can affect performance, making this fight a test not just of skill, but also of physical preparation and strategic planning.
Yeah, like what was the weight that they came to as the sweet spot? Because if you just balloon back up, you're carrying more weight. So yeah, like at 55, he might be cutting a lot of weight, and that drains his gas tank. But you can do the Goldilocks and the Three Bears the other way too far. You can overcorrect. Be like, oh, I'll just be as big as I want. But it's like, what's the actual optimal weight? What's the weight where you're physical at the weight class, but you still retain some of your speed, you maximize power, and you don't compromise the overall load that you are carrying into a potentially 25-minute fight? What is that sweet spot? Did they identify that? I think that's going to be the key for me. And listen, he trains. I mean, look, that Nurmagomedov team is. I mean, they do only really one thing, which is win. So I suspect that they've got this dialed in, but we don't know. Like there could be ways that gets tripped up, or maybe they miscalculated.
Meanwhile, as anticipation builds for Della Maddalena versus Makhachev, attention now turns to JDM's training camp. Observers note he's been focusing on striking precision, defensive movement, and explosive conditioning. Every session seems aimed at maximizing his power while improving timing against a grappler like Islam. This glimpse into his preparation shows how seriously he's approaching the fight and sets the stage for his performance inside the cage. Furthermore, as the focus shifts from training to the batting side of the fight, Long Island Luke shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. While JDM's preparation has impressed fans, Luke noted that moving up in weight and facing one of the UFC's best wrestlers makes it a tall task. Experts, including Luke, are weighing how this matchup plays out both in the cage and on the odds boards.
It's not necessarily shutout, and honestly, Islam has been a way bigger favorite against a lot of other guys. I think the fact that he's moving up in weight, they're a little hesitant to make him like a minus 400 favorite. But I got to be honest, I was breaking down this fight today. I'm going to be on No Bets Barred later this week, so we're obviously going to break down each fight. And I was like, dude, I really like Dennis. I'm trying to root for JDM, but I'm like, I really don't see a path to victory here for him. I feel like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but something like he was taken down 10 times in his last 3 fights or something like that, maybe last 2 fights, something crazy like that. And you're going against arguably the best wrestler in the UFC. And arguably number 1 pound for pound. It's just like, it's a tall task for JDM. I'm going to be rooting for him in some way, but I feel like odds wise, you're getting actually great value on Islam at only minus 235, considering last time out against Moicano, he was probably like a minus 700, you know what I mean? So
following Luke's take on the odds and wrestling challenges, attention turns to Jack Della Maddalena's in-cage skills. Jose Youngs pointed out that JDM's striking is unlike anything Islam has faced, especially in close quarters. His precision, looping combinations, and ability to connect consistently make him a unique threat, showing that this fight will test both fighters' skill, timing, and adaptability.
The way he throws combinations in incredibly tight quarters is something we don't really see in MMA, let alone the welterweight division, and I can guarantee you Islam hasn't seen anything like it. Like, you watch the fight against Bilal, you watch the fight against, especially the fight against Kevin, in a scenario where like a guy, they get closer, guys are normally like throw elbows, maybe knees, or try to clinch up. Jack is throwing 3-4 punch looping combinations in a phone booth, and it's so interesting to watch, and it's so fascinating to me that not only is he throwing them, but he's connecting with them. Like, he's seeing where the punches are going to go, and he's not just winging punches just to wing punches. I think that is going to be the most interesting thing for me, because Islam is a great wrestler, but he's also a way better striker than Khabib. I think Islam might be a more well-rounded fighter than Khabib.
Building on his earlier point about JDM striking, Jose then discussed how Jack handles grappling and close-range pressure. He noted that while Islam likes to clinch and control opponents, taking Jack down and keeping him there won't be easy. Youngs explained that JDM has a history of turning difficult positions into opportunities, showing that his adaptability and training could make this fight far more unpredictable.
If Islam, who does like to clinch up and he does like to get in there and, close the distance, if he cannot deal with that, that's going to be an issue. And it's one thing, like, when you say someone gets taken down 10 times, that means he got up 10 times. If you're going to take him down, you're going to struggle to hold Jack down. I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this fight. I don't particularly like picking fights, but I don't think it's that easy because Jack has like the Gilbert Burns fight. Gilbert Burns is better at jiu-jitsu than anyone that is in almost anyone in the welterweight division, and he was on top of Jack. And Jack did that Derek Lewis thing where he's like, all right, I'm just going to stand up and knock you out. So if he does that to Islam, don't be surprised. Also, like Craig Jones, he's training with Craig Jones. How many times has Craig Jones prepared for Islam? It's like when Justin Buchholz was preparing Cody Garbrandt to fight Dominic Cruz. At some point, you're going to crack the code.
Moving on, focusing on fight strategy and past performances, attention turns to Islam Makhachev's preparation for this matchup. Javier Mendez, Islam's head coach, emphasized that this training camp has been unlike any other. He noted that Islam is physically and mentally at his peak, surpassing all previous camps. Mendez highlighted that this preparation is crucial for facing one of the toughest challenges in his career.
Well, every fight camp has been really good with Islam. He's been great every fight camp, but I have to admit, this one, he's eclipsed all his other training camps as far as being ready physically, mentally, everything. This one eclipses every one of them, and this is the one he's going to need it for also. So it's probably a good thing, right, that we're the best we've ever been going into the toughest challenge we probably have ever faced. I can't say anything other than I've never seen them look this good.
Mendez highlighted another key factor, weight and strength. He explained that Islam came into this camp at about 10 pounds heavier than usual, which could make a big difference in his performance at 170 pounds. Mendez noted that carrying less weight to cut helps Islam maintain strength and energy, showing that his physical preparation is carefully optimized for this fight.
He was basically, he'd walk into training camp around 179, 180, and this camp here, he came in about 190, 191, so it's 10 pounds heavier. But you got to remember, there's a big difference between 155 and 170. That's a 15-pound difference. So he has 5 pounds less to lose on this one than the last one. So, that could very well be why he's stronger, this camp, because he didn't have as much to lose, But still, I think, for a 170, I think he's not a bad 170. We walk around 190, that's not bad. Not bad at all.
Furthermore, after discussing Islam's physical preparation and weight advantage, Javier shifted focus to the opponent. He expressed deep respect for Jack Della Maddalena, calling him a tough and skilled fighter. Mendez highlighted the importance of detailed film study, noting he's watched JDM's past fights multiple times to prepare. This shows how seriously Islam's camp is approaching the challenge and the respect they have for his abilities.
I don't know. I mean, they say his camp has also alluded to the fact that Islam's easy to figure out too, and I don't know what their plan is. I really don't. All I know is, we're prepared for a super tough JDM, and don't care what I hear on any side. I know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a hell of a champion that we respect. We have a huge amount of respect for him, and myself personally, I watched the fight on between him and Bilal Muhammad 7 times, and I've never done that with anybody. 7 times I watched it.
Wow.
That's a lot because I respect him. He's good, man. He's good. I believe we're going to beat him, but we doing our homework, But this guy's good. He's really good.
After analyzing both fighters' skills, training, and strategies, attention turns to predictions from fellow fighters. Khamzat Chimaev shared his thoughts on the matchup, weighing both Jack Della Maddalena's striking and Islam Makhachev's wrestling. He acknowledged that both fighters are highly skilled, but moving up in weight could challenge Islam. Khamzat gave his insight on how the fight might unfold, highlighting wrestling as Islam's key advantage.
Jack or Islam? Well, Islam will get the good and Jack will the good. When I asking he coach brother, wait, what he gonna say? We'll see. Your opinions?
5% od Maddalena's.
Oh, Islam looks like well.
Della, yes, half
Coach says 55% Maddalena, 45 Islam. But I think Islam, we will see. Both good fighters. Islam moving up. It's interesting to see what's he gonna do. But I think Islam will be more he gonna use his wrestling more in this fight.
Adding on, as UFC 322's main event draws near, all focus is on Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. Nick Barnhill explained that while Islam is the favorite, Jack's move up in weight makes this fight more interesting. He praised DM's striking and takedown defense and noted how well Jack controls the center of the cage, keeping pressure fighters like Islam from dominating easily.
This is the main event of 2025.
Yeah.
And trust me, everybody thought it was going to be Khamzat versus DDP. This is the one we got to watch for. Jack Della Maddalena, you know, he's the champion and he's the underdog. So I want to start with him because that's interesting to me. When you've got a smaller guy moving up into another champion's division, and now he's all of a sudden the favorite, it shows you the level that Islam's at. But we also can't sleep on Jack. Jack is such a high-level fighter. And some of the things that stick out to me, obviously he's a great striker. He will have the striking advantage over Islam. Obviously his takedown defense is high level, but he hasn't faced a guy quite like Islam yet. So that's really going to be put to the test, and we're going to see where his level is for that.
Barnhill continued, highlighting how Jack handles pressure. When opponents come forward, he moves slightly back, uses head movement, and lands counter shots to slow attacks. Jack also angles off and creates space to avoid danger. These skills show how he constantly improves as a champion, fixing weaknesses and adapting to different styles, making him a challenging and unpredictable fighter in the octagon.
And then the other thing I noticed as I was going back watching his fights, his ability to control the cage, or at least where he is in the cage, which is inside of the black lines.
Yeah.
He loves to stay in the center, and we've heard it for years and years now. When you're fighting a guy like Islam, when you're fighting a pressure guy who loves to take you to the cage and bring you down, you cannot get anywhere near the cage. As soon as your back foot is behind that black line in the cage, you're now 1 to 2 steps away from being on the cage.
Yep.
And a guy like Islam will put you there every time you give him the opportunity. So Jack, if you go back and watch his fights, one thing that we've seen out of him is he's very good at maintaining the center of the octagon, even when he's defensive. So when somebody starts to pressure forward with him on striking or something like that, yes, he does move back probably 1 step.
Finally, Barnhill focused on Jack's champion mindset. He isn't satisfied with past wins and continues to train hard to improve. His striking, cage control, and defensive awareness show a fighter fully prepared for tough challenges. Combined with his tactical thinking, these qualities make Jack a serious threat to Islam, promising a competitive and high-level main event that could surprise fans and test both fighters' skills.
But then shortly after that, it's good head movement. He'll put 1 or 2 shots just to keep you busy and maybe stunt your blitz a little bit. And then he's angling off some way or another. So I think that's very important for him. And what I've noticed is he's made leaps and bounds as far as his skill in that realm in recent time. Like, Jack is one of those champions that is getting better day by day on the job as the champion. He's able to go and make drastic improvements in his skills and drastic improvements in places that we assumed he might have holes in between fights and in between camps as the champion, which shows the kind of level he's at. But also, he's not resting on his laurels. He's going hard. He still sees himself as this hungry guy.
As fight night gets closer, Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena are ready to face each other in an exciting matchup. Islam is top-level wrestling, strong striking, and is in peak shape, while Jack brings fast, powerful strikes, great cage control, and smart defense. Both fighters have trained hard and studied each other carefully. This fight is all about skill, strategy, and who can stick to their game plan under pressure. Fans should expect a fast, technical, and unpredictable battle where every move matters, because it's not just a fight, it's a test of heart, preparation, and toughness. So, who do you think will take the win? Islam's grappling dominance or Jack's striking power? Comment below with your predictions and why.